So welcome back, everybody, to Flyneau Reads 49 Hours by ScribeOfRhapsody. Today we're on Chapter 4, Hours 6 to 8 of 49. My name's Amanda.
And I'm Chris.
Let's get this started. So remember, pink is Regis.
Yeah. There have been no other signs of them besides the garage.
Regis asked as he walked along the hallways of the Citadel, although he already knew the answer he'd received.
None thus far.
Clarice said grimly.
And due to the disabled cameras in the garage and the level of damage on the bodies found, we don't have any other leads on who took him either. Oh, but don't we?
There was no doubt in the king's mind who was behind this.
I find it difficult to believe that Ignis would deem it necessary to incinerate a group of muggers.
Clarice conceded his words with a bow of his head.
The scene does lean highly towards speaking of Imperial involvement.
Regis swore inwardly. Ignis was so bright for his age that he barely had any hesitation in letting the boy take on duties above that of what normally would be assigned to him. Regis was a fool for not considering that would put the boy in danger like this, just because they were behind the wall.
How many glaives have been deployed? All that are available, Your Majesty.
That still wasn't enough, not for this needle in a haystack search.
See that Kor spares every man, woman he can as well. All travel.
For a sec, I thought you were going to say man, woman, and child, and I'm like, that'd be funny.
The thing is, I almost did. It's like, spare every man, woman, and child. We're having children search for him? They're highly intelligent, sir. Most of our children are sitting there sucking their thumbs right now. All travel in and out of the city is to be halted until this is resolved, and I want every station broadcasting Ignis's picture to the public. Understood, my king.
Clarice said, sounding very much like he'd expected everything Regis had just ordered. Your Majesty! Regis halted his pace, waiting for the elder Sentia to catch up to them, and stood at attention. Sire, permission to join the search for my nephew.
Granted.
Regis barely let him finish his sentence.
Go.
They would be getting that boy back safe, no matter what.
Stop right here. Stop here is where we'll make... Bleh. Stop. Here's where we'll make our ascent.
Loki said, looking at some graffiti beside a ladder that matched the graffiti they'd seen earlier.
About bloody time.
Biggs muttered.
Now, it'll be daylight soon. Your granola man has a point.
The Lucian noted.
You have half a city to cover, and soon it will be broad daylight. How do you intend to pull off a feat of escaping the city under those conditions? That's none of your concern.
Tumult snarled. Oh, Arne was glad she hadn't re-gagged that guy. Things were much more entertaining when he could speak. It's my concern, Loki. He's right. How the hell are we going to cross the city dressed like this? We don't exactly blend in, and it won't be long until they have his face plastered on every billboard in the city. Locally snipe... What's wrong?
When you said, have this place, the first thing that popped into my head was a bunch of glaives crashing through the sewer ceiling. It's like, we did it! We did it! Oh, shoot, we buried them underneath rubble. Whoops. Who wants to tell the king?
Who wants to tell Noctis? Loki snippily gestured for Wedge to climb the ladder first.
I can assure you, Miss Highwood, I have a plan.
Yeah, I know you have a plan. I'd like to know the plan. Loki huffed.
You'll see when we reach the surface.
How reassuring.
Oh, the sarcasm.
Like before, Aranea was the last to reach the ladder, and she scaled it quickly, making it to the top just in time to hear Biggs protest.
Amal? You bloody mad? Do you have any idea how many cameras are in a place like this? Like that?
Aranea blinked, letting her eyes adjust to the slightly brighter light. Sure enough, there was an indoor mall within sight. Actually, this is smart. Biggs shot her a look. Aranea took her place by the Lucian again, turning to Tumult. I'm assuming the cameras are taken care of? Tumult nodded proudly.
I'm still picturing, like, Tumult being a brand of Tums that you melt under your tongue.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Also, the idea of Tumult being medicine.
God, that would be like either he would be a very ineffective medicine, or he'd be the medicine that cures diarrhea, because that's what he is.
Yeah. No. He's an ineffective medicine with a side effect that causes diarrhea.
Yes, that's what it would be.
The Lucians will find this to be one of the many areas experiencing power outages. They won't be able to check them all.
And this is one of the last ones they'd check, because it's usually a more heavily populated area, so they wouldn't expect us to be here, Aranea finished.
Precisely.
Oh, we're never going to know what was said after that. Probably just come out snarled.
We have slightly over an hour and a half before the store employees start arriving. I trust you all can appreciate appropriate disguises in that amount of time. Let's appreciate our disguises for a moment, guys.
Pretty much.
Don't worry about us.
Biggs was already walking, Wedge was already walking, and Biggs wasn't far behind him, a look of positive glee on his face.
Don't worry, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, I know. A small smile tugging at her lips. The Lucian tilted his head inquisitively at her. Their lives haven't exactly been glamorous. Every guilt counts. Aranea saw no issue with giving him an explanation, might even leave him something to think about other than his judgmental outlook on them. Free reign in a mall isn't something they've had before. Also, I apologize for my voice. I'm sounding kind of rough today, I don't know why.
Sound like you're coming down with a throat cold.
Yeah, I know it does, and I don't know why. The Lucian didn't reply. Sure enough, Biggs and Wedge were like kids in a candy store, running rampant through the mall and breaking into as many stores as they could so they could look at everything in their limited amount of time. Tumult stared after them like they'd lost their minds as he shifted through one of the racks.
Was there something particularly wrong with the first 3 stores? The thing is, I'm picturing Biggs and Wedge just running around with a battering ram going, break, break.
Yeah, pretty much. Just break, break.
That's a woman's clothing store. We don't need that. What about Aranea? That's a child's women's clothing store. But all the shiny things.
Pretty much. For the first time, he didn't seem condescending. He genuinely looked confused. Of course, he probably hadn't struggled with poverty either. Aranea was about to say something, but then she noticed that the Lucian was eyeing her up. And not at all subtly. Hey, she tightened her grip on his arm. You looking for something? He looked at her in puzzlement, and then his eyes widened in realization.
Sorry.
Poor Ignis.
Yeah, in a word. Because here's the thing. He's thinking one thing. She probably thinks he's trying to... with his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I forgive me. I did not intend... I was merely taking note of your attire so I could suggest...
He flushed beet red, turning his gaze to the floor.
I believe you'll like the selection in that shop in particular.
He gestured with his tied hands to a store that was some ways down.
It's of higher quality and more suited to what I am assuming are your tastes.
Aranea shared a look with Tumult before bursting into laughter. By the 6, he was actually a teenager after all. Behind that stuffy, sharp-witted exterior, he was as awkward as everyone else's age, maybe even more so given that little display. You know, sure, why not? Let's give that one a shot. Turned out the Lucian was right. This was definitely her kind of store. She wasn't too picky on the quality of clothes so long as they didn't fall apart, but this store had exactly the stuff she liked, and its quality was so good she would consider sleeping in it. Out of curiosity, she checked the price tag of one of the jackets she picked up.
One second. The thing I'm thinking here is if Ignis and Aranea were dating, it's like Ignis is just picking out clothes for her.
Pretty much.
And putting it on the King's tab.
No, I know. Also, do you know how hard it was for me to find an image of a clothing store of something I think Aranea would wear? Like, I tried so hard to find a clothing store where I'm like, doesn't look like Aranea would shop here kind of thing.
And also...
And it's like, I ended up going with one that's kind of semi-business professional, I guess.
And still trying to find one where we're not going to get copyright.
Yeah. Well, Google, everything I've used is from Google, so... Mm-hmm. It's like, that was another thing I had to avoid, was watermarked images, since I was like, nope, can't use that. Mm-hmm. She made a face. It was, if she was actually shopping with money right now, she'd have dropped the jacket like it was on fire. Who the hell charges this much for one jacket? You normally shop here? The Lucian chuckled.
No, I'm afraid this is far above my pay grade, though I am gifted with some attire of higher quality for my work.
Made sense, though she was still confused as to why they had a 19-year-old in a position that required clothes like that anyways. Future advisor to the king was what Tumult said. Hell of a lot of pressure there. No wonder this guy was so level-headed if he had to live with that. Well, anyway, price didn't matter right now, so she laid the jacket over the other items in her arms.
Oi, Lady A!
Biggs called. Yeah, Biggs? She yelled back, and the Lucian winced at the volume since she was so close to his ear.
Found a bakery over here. There's some... that's got some leftovers. You want something?
You guys want anything? Aranea lowered her voice to a normal level. No, a formatting error.
You goofed.
I goofed.
We should eat all we can. Sorry, we should eat all while we... We should eat all while we can.
Tumult didn't look up from the shelf he was pawing through.
I thought that said pawing through.
Pawing through. Did I say pawning?
Yes.
Whoops.
He's just pawing through shells. What will you give me if I trade you this item from your store?
Yeah.
I'll not have another chance like this. Surprisingly, I'm inclined to agree with him.
The Lucian said, displeasure lacing his voice.
That's you.
Sorry, I know I just zoned out for a second.
Did you zone anywhere?
Sounds good.
Did you zone anywhere interesting?
No, I just kind of went, duh. She yelled again. Bring enough facts for all of us.
You got it.
And that was how they found themselves sitting in a circle, eating pastries on the floor of the most expensive clothing chain in Insomnia.
Does everyone have what they need?
Tumult asked, checking his phone between bites.
We should depart after we're all changed. Don't we need to find
Oh, sorry.
Seeing how many times I've talked over you this time, I should be the one apologizing. But yeah, don't we need to find a disguise for him?
Wedge asked, looking at the Lucian.
Or at least some clothes that don't smell like sewers. Oh, Ignis is probably in need of a shower. They're all in need of a shower right now.
Probably.
Here.
Biggs said with a grin.
I got a disguise for him.
Biggs took off his hat, flipping it and popping it on the Lucian's head instead of his own. The Lucian shot him an unimpressed look, and Wedge and Aranea snickered.
Oh, come on, Mr. Lucian. Don't be such a doubter.
Biggs nudged him with his elbow.
I thought that said drowner for a second.
Yeah. Don't be such a drowner. He's just drowning them.
Yep. Ignis.
No, he'd probably go like, Ignis.
Ignis.
No.
Ignis.
Yeah, that's closer.
Mm-hmm.
Lucian snapped, his gaze cold as he ripped the hat off and dropped it.
God damn it. I hate when I forget to pronounce something. Then
Ignis Sentia.
I knew the Ignis part. I wasn't sure about the Sentia part. My name is Ignis Sentia.
I always forget if it's a hard C or a soft C.
Mm-hmm. My name is Ignis Sentia. I am not a nameless pawn that's here to amuse you until you throw me to the wolves in exchange for your next paycheck.
Biggs' face dropped instantly. Damn it all, Biggs was having a hard enough time with this. The Lucian, Sentia, just didn't know him well enough to see past that false cheer. Or did he see past it and was trying to pressure Biggs because he thought he would be the easiest to crack?
I feel kind of bad for him.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Biggs and Wedge are both having, like, they're just, Biggs and Wedge are cinnamon rolls, and they deserve protecting, and RNA is there to protect them, but they need emotional protection as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ignis needs emotional help as well right now.
Everybody but Tumult.
Yes, everybody with Tumult is are cinnamon rolls. RNA is one of those, looks like could kill you, but is actually a cinnamon roll types.
And the best part is, Tumult is not cinnamon rolls. He is just a pile of poop.
Yeah.
He is the poop emoji.
Yes. Does that mean that he's voiced by, what's that guy's name? Remember in the Emoji Movie, they actually got a really famous dude to voice the poop emoji?
I don't remember. I never saw the movie, to be honest.
Oh, God. I don't remember his name, but they got a really famous guy to voice the poop emoji.
We stop and think for a second how it's like, you got a really famous guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. Arrhenius stood, grabbing grabbing Ignis's arm to get him to his feet. Let's get you some clean clothes. He yanked his arm free.
I can stand on my own.
Arrhenius sighed. It wasn't like she could actually blame him for being snippy. The Imperial, Loki, checked his phone again.
I'm going to obtain a charger from this phone.
He pocketed the device and his stolen maroon and black jacket.
When I return, we leave 15 minutes at most. Miss Highwood, I recommend you get changed.
Yeah, Highwind dismissed him. I'll be ready. She was the only one of them still in armored garb, but Ignis knew that was just due to her constantly watching him while the others got everything they needed.
Yeah.
Loki walked off, examining the phone charging port as he headed to the electronics store.
Yeah, the thing is, when the first time we recorded this, the first thing that popped in...
Yeah, are you going to talk about the fact the first time we recorded this, we thought it would be funny and it'd be nice if Ignis had to follow her into the changing room, as it would probably make him go beet red.
It's like, there's red, there's beet red, then there's lobster red, and then there's just like, oh my god, and it'd be so freaking funny.
Especially because Aranea is a very attractive woman underneath all that armor, so Ignis probably would be like, shit!
It would break Ignis horribly.
It would, and he'd be like, well, I'm ready to die now.
Or he'd be going down the alternate route, dominate me.
And then we joked that it'd be nice if ScribeOfRhapsody wrote an alternate universe fan fiction where if Ignis had to follow her into the change room.
It's like an alternate universe of the fan fiction she already wrote.
I know, because the fan fiction's already an alternate universe, so it's a double alternate universe.
It's an alternate universe of an alternate universe that is already an alternate universe of a universe.
It's the expanded universe. We're gonna create a whole DC Comics worth of expanded worlds for this thing.
And then mix it with the Marvel expanded universe.
Yeah. What would that be in game terms? That'd be like mixing Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest or something.
I think at that point it would be a combination of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, mixed in with a bit of Tales.
Yeah. And then it'd just be like, oh, that's a lot of games.
You'd be sitting there going, okay, how are these all interconnected? I'm not entirely sure.
But it works, because Scribe would be doing it, and I feel like Scribe has the ability to make anything she wants into reality.
Yeah, I won't doubt that.
I'm sorry, Scribe, I'm assuming you're a girl, but if you're a boy, you'll have to correct me. Anyway, Loki walked off examining blah 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 blah. Read that part already.
Here, Lady A, why don't you let me watch him while you get changed? Biggs ruining our fan theory.
Yeah, but bad Biggs. The one named Biggs said, having just finished transferring the contents of his coat pockets over to his new dark jeans and shorter, expensive white jacket. For insomnia during the winter, he looked entirely natural, as did Loki and Wedge. Ignis himself was dressed in a near exact copy of what he had on earlier, the only real change being the addition of a long overcoat with deep purple lining. A glaive never would have suspected them like this.
The first thing that's popping in...
Oh.
The thing that's popping in my head is like that cliche, you guys want to buy a watch? And Ignis just doing that.
Yeah, I know. When you say that, it reminds me of that video game. I think it's in Resident Evil 4, where there's the shopkeep that'll be like, what you looking for, stranger? Or something like that. And he'll open his jacket, and it'll always be creepy. I know you don't know that reference, but like, I'd have to look it up at some point to show it to you. Anyway, Ignis flexed his glove hands, testing the freshly tied ropes that bound them together. Well, at least he'd be warm while being walked to his death if it came to that. Thanks, Biggs. Highwind nudged Ignis towards her comrade and gathered the clothes she picked out before heading to the restroom, which was in the corner of the mall on that level.
Oi, Wedge, why don't you grab us some cookies from the shop we passed? We could use some for the road.
Ignis frowned. Why did it seem like Biggs was trying to get rid of the others?
Yeah, sure.
Wedge grunted, also walking off. Ignis flexed his hands again. All three of the others were gone. This might be the chance he was waiting for. The characteristic sound of a can being opened. I think that's supposed to be of a can being opened, brought Ignis' attention back to the remaining Imperial. He suddenly found an ebony being offered to him.
Here.
Ignis blinked, giving the man a surprised look. Firstly, why? Secondly, how had he even known Ignis' preferred drink? Biggs chuckled.
Saw you eyeing these when we passed the display earlier.
Ah, why, so he had. Ignis accepted the can. No matter the reason, the last thing he needed was a caffeine headache on top of everything else. And, oh, this could also have other uses.
Listen, kid. Not a kid. I did that wrong.
Not a child.
Not a child.
Also, you're failing on Ignis' voice. The voice we use for Ignis is usually softer.
Not a child.
There you go. Ignis took a large gulp of ebony, and yes, this was better already.
Right, listen, mate. Not your mate, either.
Big sighed.
Alright, Ignis then?
Ignis took another sip, raising his eyebrows as he waited for the man to continue.
Look, I don't want you to think that any of us except the pompous asshole, Tumlet, are happy about...
No, it's come out.
Oh. Sorry, yeah. Anyway. Haha, Tumelt. Anyway, the pompous asshole are happy about this assignment. We're just trying to do the best make the best we can out of a rubbish situation. Eh.
Ignis let his eyes flicker past the Imperial. Highwind was just turning the corner. It wouldn't take her long to change and return. He needed to be quick. Ignis met the other man's gaze.
Biggs, is it not? Mr. Biggs, if you're looking for me to ease your conscience, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint you. Yeah, that's fair.
Biggs scratched the back of his neck. He was about to speak again when Ignis fumbled his ebony with his tied hands, the can dropping from his grip to land on the ground and start spilling. Ignis swore, stepping out of range of the splash. He closed his hands partially, readying them. Biggs knelt down instantly.
Oh, here, I'll get it.
Now,
I feel bad for this.
As soon as Biggs dropped his gaze, Ignis summoned one of his daggers, slicing through the bindings that were locking his wrists together with little effort. The moment his hands were free, he replaced the dagger with his lance, swinging the end of it around just as Biggs looked up. The Imperial fell backwards as the lance's dull end struck the side of his head, and he was unconscious before he hit the ground.
At least it didn't kill him.
Ignis held his breath, listening for signs of others. What was that?
I said, first off, I feel bad for Biggs in this instance. Because he's trying, like, I understand the situation, but at least he's trying to be a genuinely nice guy.
No, I know.
At the same time, at least Ignis didn't kill him.
No, I know. Nothing. They hadn't heard. He could escape right now, except he couldn't leave just yet. There was something he needed to know first. Ignis shook the remains of the ropes from his hands. 1 down, 3 to go. End. That's chapter 4. All done now. I do feel really bad for Biggs.
He's like a big marshmallow puppy.
I know. As like he deserves the best, but no, he has to get hit by the head. He has to get hit in the head just because Ignis needs to escape.
Mhm.
But no. Anyway, so what did you think of chapter 4?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I like how it's developing, at least.
Yes, although you say that every time. You always say it's interesting.
Okay, how about this? It's definitely highly entertaining watching everyone just the inner thoughts of, what's her name? Amelia?
Aranea?
Aranea. Inner thoughts of Aranea in English and at times in regards to tumult.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, that was Flyneau Reads
ScribeOfRhapsody.
49 Hours by ScribeOfRhapsody. My brain just went numb there for a second.
Maybe Ignis hit you too.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Well, he hit me in the heart is where he hit me.
I'm not losing you to Ignis now, am I?
Oh, you lost me to Ignis ages ago.
Let's hope we never get sent to Final Fantasy XIV universe, or yeah, I'm gonna be out of girlfriend.
15.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah. If you sent me to 14, then Alphino is your competition there.
Yeah. Wait, do I have competition in every last one of them?
Almost.
Okay.
Surprisingly, Hope is my favorite in 13.
So...
I like them jailbait.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry for the sidetrack. We'll see you all in the next chapter.
Hope you enjoyed.